Hey, one more thing before you go. This is Over the Teacup Sunday and Oscar Sunday. Diane and I do not want to take up too much of your time today because there's so much more to do for the Oscars, especially if you're a big fan. So we just wanted to say to you, thank you very much for joining us on our special series of exploring the 2023 Oscar nominated films and the people they were nominated in for the 95th annual Oscars. And we hope that you still have an opportunity to catch up on them before they come out this evening. I'm your host, Michael Hurst. I'm here with my lovely wife and co host, Diane.
Happy Oscar Sunday.
Welcome to One More Thing Before You Go. Hey, Diane.
Hello, Michael.
This is one of our favorite days of the year, isn't it?
Yes, mine too. We were already watching some Oscar coverage, red carpet coverage. Well, champagne carpet, I guess now.
Champagne carpet. You know, they never did. Everybody keeps saying they changed it to champagne carpet, but nobody has actually said why did they change it to champagne carpet.
They did. I think you were out of the room. They were talking about it on the news yesterday that they wanted to they wanted it to look more, what's the word?
Champagne-y?
Just like opulence. They wanted to bring more opulence into it, and they already had the red drapes all over the place, and they wanted to have some sort of a contrast, but that made it look um,
So somebody
opulent.
decided to get more artistic.
Yeah, sure, I
They
guess
brought
so.
a
We'll see
set
how.
designer. Yeah, they brought a set designer in who said, "Oh, this needs to be champagne, champagne."
It's kind of weird because I mean it's been so much like 60 some odd years that they've had the red carpet, and they still call it on the red carpet or live from the red carpet, so they're gonna have to change that, I guess. But I think they're gonna I don't know. I see that they're going to probably go back to it next year because they're going to see how filthy the carpet gets with all those people walking all over it. You can't hide that, you
And the
know?
dirt
So,
blowing and the wind blowing stuff on it, and they'd be
yeah.
constantly vacuuming it or sweeping it or something. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, everybody off the carpet.
I
Gotta
think that weird color red that they used to have for it must have hidden a lot of
some of it,
foot
yeah.
traffic.
Well, and it's interesting because, like you said, we've been watching this about 1 p.m. Eastern time today, which was 9,
10
no,
o'clock our
10,
time.
10 o'clock our
10 our
time.
time. Mhm.
Um, it's the time change this morning. So, although Arizona doesn't, we don't change the time, but we change with the times. So, where
We
we're
still have to
Mountain
know.
Standard Time most of the time, 2 hours behind the East Coast, now we're 3 hours behind, which is kind
Hmm.
of weird. Anyway, so starting today, like 10 o'clock our time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, many of the networks are already carrying some of the pre-Oscar stuff, the champagne carpet, the styles, the movies, they're going over everything. So don't miss that if you're a big Oscar fan. We'll just remind you really quick, don't miss any of that because you get to see all of it. They're doing some clips from some of the stars and where they got
Hmm.
started and things like that, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see some behind the scenes stuff.
Well, we don't want to take too much of your time up because we'd rather you spend it with the Oscars, but we did want to touch base on a few things. We want to remind you of some of the films and the talent that's being displayed in this year's Oscars. And if you haven't had a chance to catch up on one of them you missed, you may have that opportunity still to catch one or two of them and or some of the shorts that Diane and I were able to catch up on
Hmm.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Which a couple of them were a little, we'll call them artsy.
Yeah, there one of them for sure was one of those movies that you kind of go away like, and what was the point? Uh,
Yeah, what the
I
hell
don't.
was this doing in an Oscar nominated
Yeah.
category?
Well, not
Yeah.
even just the Oscar, just the movie itself, whether it was nominated or not. I didn't understand the whole point. But
Well, growing up Catholic, la, it's called La
we
Pupelle.
need to. We
Pupelle.
probably need to. I was gonna say we need to say which one we're
Yeah,
talking
the
about.
La Pupelle, which is Italian. film,
Mhm.
and it deals with a bunch of kids, girls at an all-girls Catholic school in Italy, back way back when. And
Mhm.
um, I mean, I
World War
understand it
II.
to a certain perspective
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I get growing up Catholic, I recognize a
Mhm.
lot of what was in there, but you're gonna have to make your own decisions on that. You can watch it. What do we watch it on?
I think
Was that
Hulu
Netflix? Might have been on Netflix or Prime
might have been it.
or FX. It was one of those three.
I
Anyway,
can't remember.
it was interesting. And then, but again, kind of bizarre. But
Mhm.
growing up Catholic, I recognized some things in there. Like, okay, now I know why they did this. The other movie the other short that we got to see was an animated short, which everybody close your ears if you have kids. My Year of Dicks. I gave a
Yeah.
pause there to close your ears,
Yeah.
but
And it
that's
and it actually, I mean, it could be my year of detectives, my year of PIs, could be that, but it wasn't. It was what you think.
exactly. So, it
Mhm.
is a 15-year-old's perspective on um, coming into
Lo-
womanhood and searching for the
Looking for
right person
virginity
for that, and how some of them can be real
for
dicks.
most can be. Most most can be.
So, yeah, that was
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah. I actually I well, we watched, as of today, we watched four of the short documentaries. It was one of I liked two of the four. Well, I guess I like three of the four. But it was one of my top two.
It was very interesting because
Hmm.
it literally combined each segment. It comes in chapters, and each segment came in with some actual live action, and then melded into animation. So from that perspective, that was pretty cool because it was the woman. They showed her the girl, and she opened up the chapter with this and this and this, and then she kind of meld into the animation.
Oh, I know
Um,
Shama. Okay.
yeah, then the rest of it would be the animation and telling the
Mhm.
story in the chapters, which I thought was kind of unique from that perspective. And but it was kind of cool. I like that one as well.
Yeah, I liked it.
Um,
Hmm.
and then
The fact that her dad ends up having the sex talk with her. It's like,
uh,
oh, every 15-year-old girl's nightmare.
oh,
Absolutely.
in my opinion, is every dad's nightmare too. As a dad of two young ladies, um, yeah, I think that there's not the father's responsibility unless you're a single parent. It's not really the father's responsibility to talk to young ladies about um, coming of age.
No comment.
uh, now, here from my perspective, okay, girls, boys are bad. Don't touch.
That's pretty much what you told them.
That's pretty much what I told them. Boys are bad. Don't touch. Um, no, we have a very honest and open family, so we have conversations with our kids, and we're able to talk about just about anything. And so, I think that communication is a lost art within families, and with that understanding and growing up in that environment as well as working in that environment, we always made sure to have open communication with our children. But anyway,
Yeah,
yes,
but
it was pretty good.
we wouldn't have had that kind of sex talk with them.
No,
The way he put it.
but and then we watched it this morning. We got to an opportunity to watch a quick one called "Stranger at the Gate," and
Mhm.
it's on the YouTube. You can watch it on the New Yorker magazine YouTube channel, and it
Mhm.
is a quick, about 30 minutes then, and that was pretty good. I think I enjoyed it. It was a documentary, very well done. I think. I think we started knowing parts of it. I think we were remembering that earlier, back on
Yeah,
CBS Sunday Morning 4 or 5 months ago when they were in the middle of creating it. So
mhm.
some of it was familiar, but it's a really good story. So you should try to check
Yeah.
that out as well.
If there's one short documentary you watch, it should be Stranger at the Gate.
Yeah, The Stranger at the Gate was really, really good.
Mhm.
So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, if you haven't had a chance to see them,
We saw another one,
oh,
the
what else did we see?
Elephant's Whisper.
Oh, Elephant Whisper. Man, I forgot about Elephant
Mhm.
Whisper. That's an outstanding documentary, actually, and it's
Mhm.
also
Mhm.
nominated.
It was good. It was really,
And
it
we're
was,
obviously we're elephant fans,
yeah, we love
so that
elephants.
helped.
I want a baby elephant, but never get one.
What's really interesting is the fact that these, this that they talk about elephants that were um, adopted into live families to help take care of them and raise them because they were orphaned, and the
Mhm.
attachment that the elephants and the people become together, and how they the elephants are. I don't want to give it all away, but elephants are so intelligent and they're compassionate and they love the people that they connect
Mhm.
to. They're like loyal to, and you get to see
Yeah.
this in that film. I think it was really really good. That's my favorite. I think.
It was definitely one of my top three of the four.
Yeah, I think I know.
Um, but the one thing I didn't like about it was they didn't wrap something up that happens. They didn't give a reason for it, and it just kind of bugged me. But
I agree with that.
um,
I agree with that because they
I didn't
talked
give it
about
a
it in the end, and then they didn't.
yeah. They didn't. They just said it happened and didn't give an explanation why. So.
Yeah, and which is that's the only part about it. But other than that, it was done really well actually, and I think that
Mhm. And if you like elephants, it's definitely worth watching.
yeah, and it shows you people still have compassion,
Hmm.
which is good.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's run down. I'm going to run down really quick the nominations. I've got a list of them, so I'm going to try to do them as quick as I can. I'm not going to do every one of them, but I will do the films and the top actors in both in each category. So everybody can take a chance to make a list. Copy it. I'll leave it on the in the show notes if you want to, so you can keep track tonight.
Hmm.
But and then we'll tell you our favorites before we leave. So welcome
Hmm.
to the 95th annual Oscar nominee list, our little show. I think that everybody within these shows that we have watched, both the movies and the films that we have had the opportunity to watch, we got, would you say, 7 out of 10
Yeah, we got to watch 7 out of the 10 nominated
of the
top
major films?
nominees. Yeah.
Yeah, the major films. Um,
Hmm.
but and that's better than we normally do in the past.
Yes, much better.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, let's start with the films. Oscar nominated for their Best Picture are All Quiet on the Western Front with Malte Grunert, producer, Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. The Banshees
Yes.
of Inisherin, uh, Graham Broadbent, Pete Surzin, and Martin McDonough are producers on that. It's on HBO Max. Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, Catherine Martin, Gail Berman, Patrick McCormick, and Scheider Weiss are producers on that. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Daniel Kwan, Daniel Scheinert, they call them the Daniels, and Jonathan Wang, the producers. Top Gun Maverick, which we got to see that one, but we didn't get to review it. I may do a personal review on it later because Diane and I have different opinions on Top Gun Maverick, which is okay.
Yeah.
But it's still a fantastic movie, especially if you're a fan of Top Gun, which is my all-time favorite movie. And
Mhm.
Top Gun Maverick, which is icing on top of that cake. There, I see how they slipped that in there.
Yeah,
Tom
you did.
Cruise, Christopher, what's that?
I saw it. I saw how you
Uh,
slipped that in there.
Slipped it in there. Tom
Mhm.
Cruise, Macquarie, David Ellison, Jerry Bruckheimer are producers. Triangle of Sadness, Eric
I don't know.
Hemmendorf, and
I
Philip
can't help
Bogart
you.
were producers. Avatar: The Way of Water, James Cameron and the new feature, and John Landau were producers. The Fablemans, Christy McCosco Krieger, Steven Spielberg, and Tony Kushner were producers on that. Tar, Todd Field, Alexandra Milchin, and Scott Lambert, producers on that. And then, of course, on each one of those films, real quick, I think that we have our favorites in regard to those. We love everyone that we were able to see. I think we love something about each and every one of them. They are
This
all
the
worthy of watching. Of those films there. Say each one of us have, Diane and I both have our favorites together. We also have favorites separately. But within those picks, Diane, which one do you think? Which one is your favorite, and which do you think is going to take the best picture?
Um, I think, um, oh, gosh, okay. It's a hard one. It's a hard one this year. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to get it. Um, it's definitely one of my favorites for sure. Um, First and second's probably, I mean, first and second are very, very close. So it's either Elvis and or Everything Everywhere All at Once are my favorites, and sometimes one is above the other, just depending on my mood. Um, I think Everything Everywhere is going to take it. I think Elvis could. I think they have a very good shot at it. Um, who knows? Top Gun could be the sleeper.
Could be a
I
sleeper.
don't know. I don't know.
Yep, could
I
be a
and it.
sleeper.
I want to make it. I want to make it clear. I did not hate Top Gun Maverick. I'm such a fan of the original. I didn't feel it really connected to the original.
Oh, that's
I
too
don't know. That's
bad.
just me.
I just think
And
it,
I watched it twice and I fell asleep in the same spots both times. So,
but I will say that anytime there's any kind of action sequence in any film, I'm having to wake you up. And whether we're in the movie theater, especially when we're in a movie theater,
yeah,
it'd be
especially when
like,
I'm movie
"Oh, did
theater.
you see that?" And I'll look over and you're sound asleep.
And I think why I do that is because I don't like being around that many people at once. I think maybe it's a protective mechanism or
Mhm.
something for me that when I'm starting to get real anxious about being around too many people, I just shut down and so I fall asleep.
Well, you do that at home
Yeah, I'm
too,
gonna go
though.
with that.
Yeah, you do it at
That's
home
what
too.
no, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that. That's the reason. And at
Okay,
home, it's because I'm comfortable. I don't know.
we'll go with that. I'm perplexed about this as well. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably going to win. It's won just about every other award
Yeah,
that's been out there. It's won the SAG Awards. It's won the Screen Actor, the Screen Actor Guild Awards. It has won the Golden Globes. It has won. There's just so many. The
so
Producers
many,
Guild.
and
You
it
name it,
deserves them.
and it definitely deserves it. The only thing that they didn't get, which I will be adamantly, upset about this, is
Yeah,
the fact that they did not get anything for special effects,
didn't get
and
nominated at
they
all.
didn't get nominated for it, and they should have. We said this in the review. You can watch the review on YouTube.
Mhm.
You can listen to it on the podcast. But I will tell you that in it, you'll find that we talk about the fact that the 9 individuals that worked on the special effects in the movie, are self-taught, and they taught themselves, and you would never know it. They did
It
such
was
a
amazing.
brilliant job of
Yeah,
bouncing in between different dimensions, and
yeah,
everything. They did a fantastic job, an amazing display of talent in regard to something that they taught themselves over
yeah.
a course of watching YouTube videos and some other things, which is crazy cool.
It's insane. It's insane that they
Yeah.
were able to do what they did.
But
I don't know. I think they got snubbed because of the way that they learned and the way that they
I
taught
think you're
themselves.
right.
I think the
I
industry
think you're right.
snubbed them.
Now, as much as I love Top Gun Maverick, I don't think it's going to take the number one slot, but I do believe that it deserves it from just the icon aspect of the film anyway, and the fact that they didn't throw out a sequel, within a year of the other release or 2 years of the other release. They did it, what, 20 years later, and they carried it
More than
forward
that.
more than that, in my opinion, very
It
well.
was in 80, wasn't it 86 was the first one?
I think
So
so.
that's like 30, I
Oh,
can't
don't.
add,
Oh,
33 years, something like that.
wow.
32 years.
That's
I don't
crazy.
know.
Either
So
way,
maybe you're a great movie. I don't know.
yeah, but I think they did really well, and I'll do a separate review on that myself. I want to do that because I think it's important. But I think that Buzz Luhrmann's Elvis, is a
Mhm.
fantastic. spectacular portrayal of Elvis Presley and that portion of portions of his life that they included within that. There are some shortcomings within it that we felt that they should have put in there, but we understand why they didn't.
Mhm.
So I think that that's a contender for the top movie as well. The Fablemans,
Mhm.
although it was done it was a great movie, and it
Yeah,
was a good feel good movie.
that
Um,
is actually one of my other favorites.
yeah,
I
so
really, really love the Fablemans.
I put that up in the top, my top three. All Quiet on the
Hmm.
Western Front, fantastic movie. You have to see it to understand what somebody goes through in war and what they went through, what your grandparents and great grandparents went through. You can and the ones that
Even
went to
more.
war, and the ones that stayed home waiting for those to come home.
Yeah.
It is a brilliant portrayal of that, and you should watch it. So it's deserving for the nominations, but I don't think it's going to win the top. Same thing
Yeah.
with Tar, and so I don't. My top three, if any one of those top three win, I'm happy.
And they're going to be again your top three are.
My top three are Everything Everywhere All at Once, Buzz
Mhm.
Luhrmann's Elvis,
Mhm.
well, Top Gun, of course. Maybe I
Mhm.
have top four.
Mhm.
Because I like the Fablemans too for different reasons.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Spielberg created an environment for us to really get a better understanding of growing up, where his inspiration came from, how it came about,
Mm.
and the brilliance of his creativity, and he did
Yeah.
it in such a way that I think it presented. And if you haven't had the opportunity, please check out the YouTube video that we did on it, the review. You'll learn a little bit
Mhm.
more about it. We talk a little more in depth about some of his stuff, and give you a better idea. So yeah, that's where I stand. I think Everywhere All at Once is probably going to take it, but it wouldn't
Mhm.
hurt my feeling if any of the others did.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't hate it if Fableman's won or I wouldn't even hate it if Top Gun won, I guess. But um, Elvis, I think it's gonna be Elvis or anything every
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
everywhere all at once. God. Yeah, I think it'll be them, but they're also good. So
Now, yeah,
um,
in lead actor in a film, some of this, obviously we're going to mention some of the people that are in these movies. We've unfortunately not been able to see Brendan Fraser in The Whale, who was nominated. But if they'd ever stop forcing you to buy it for $20 instead of renting it for $5 or $6, they would have allowed us to kind of check it out. I think that they were wrong in that. Everybody else dropped their prices so you could kind of check it out. This one didn't.
yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing it after the Oscars because I'm sure it'll be available everywhere after that.
I would think so. So, you
Yeah.
ready for the best lead actor list?
Yes.
Austin Butler in Elvis, Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser, The Whale, Paul Mescal and After Sun, which some of these movies we haven't seen because we just haven't been able to see those. We
Yeah.
focused primarily on what was available to us for the best film.
Hmm.
Um, Bill Nighy with Living. So the After Sun of Living we didn't get to see, but I know Bill Nighy and Paul Mescal are both brilliant actors anyway. Brendan Fraser, we all grew up with Brendan Fraser with all the Mummy movies
Yeah.
and you know um, the one where he's a caveman
Uh, Encino Man.
and Encino Man. Who
Hmm.
Ki Yu Kwan is in that with him, and
Yeah.
he's obviously from. Um, didn't I guess he didn't, did he?
Hmm.
So Ki Yu Kwan, he was a supporting actor. So anyway,
Supporting.
although we didn't get to see Paul Mescal or Bill Nighy or Brendan Fraser in those episodes, what is your favorite from what we have seen?
Um, Out of the ones we've seen and that are nominated, um, it would have to be Austin Butler for the ones we've seen. Although, even though the movie, ugh, the movie affected me for days. Banshees of Inisherin. I was just, I don't know. It put me in a weird space for a couple of days. But I have to say, Colin Farrell really did break my heart in that movie. Like whew, I could feel it. So I think Brendan Fraser's going to win, and it's hard for us to judge because we didn't get to see the movie. I would love it if he does because I think that that's a great story. Um,
Plus, it's his
I
comeback.
mean,
It's his comeback
that's
movie.
what I
He
mean.
he
That's what I
stepped
mean.
away
Yeah, for
from
him.
Hollywood for so long.
Mhm.
This is kind of
Yeah.
his comeback movie.
So I would love it. I would love to see him win. But um, I would actually understand if Colin Farrell won. I don't think he's going to, but I would
Yeah,
understand it because he really, boy, he affected me in that movie.
yeah,
But Austin Butler just, I mean, man, did he work? He worked for that.
yeah. He did work for it.
Hmm.
And I kind of, I mean, I agree with you in all these aspects as well. So it's, I do believe Austin Butler did a fantastic job. We talked about that in the interview. I mean, in the review. You know, we've talked about it throughout this. Austin Butler did a fantastic job with Elvis and portraying Elvis and emoting that the the presence of Elvis. I mean, he exuded the
Hmm.
presence of Elvis, and I think it works. Colin Farrell, um, yeah, he did a he brought us into this individual's life in such a way that we both really were very emotional in regard to his character and what he did to this and the way the movie progressed with it. So if Colin Farrell, like you said, if Colin Farrell wins, it wouldn't break my heart either. Brendan
Isn't
Fraser,
I'm sorry, isn't Brendan Gleeson also nominated in that?
he's nominated as a supporting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't got to supporting yet.
I thought they were both best supporting. Okay.
Uh-uh. So that's
Okay.
best lead actor. Um, Brendan Fraser, if he wins, everything that I've seen, all the clips that I've seen, even though I want to see this movie, all the clips that I have seen, he he does like a fantastic job, and he spent like 8 hours a day in getting his makeup and prosthetics on to be able to carry this
Yeah.
movie through. Again, Paul and Bill, we haven't seen your movies, so I'm sorry we can't you know speak to that.
Yeah.
Um, Best lead actress, Kate Blanchett in Tar, which we haven't seen yet. Ana de Armas in
Mhm.
Blonde. So although they gave her a Razzie Award for Blonde,
Well, the
don't let
whole
that
movie.
sway you. She did a fantastic job
Yeah.
in Blonde.
She was amazing.
She became Marilyn Monroe.
She did.
As a fan of Marilyn Monroe, growing up with Marilyn Monroe,
Hmm.
she was Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah, she
plain and
did a
simple.
fantastic. She talk about working for it again.
Yeah.
You could see the work she put into it.
Andrea Riseborough to Leslie, which we haven't seen as well.
Yeah,
Michelle Williams, The Fablemans, who did a fantastic job in
she's
regard to
she's
that.
really good.
Actually, she caused Steven Spielberg to cry.
Yeah, yeah. I think she's got a really good shot at it.
I think so too.
Actually,
Michelle Yeoh, Everything
yeah.
Everywhere All at Once. She, again, she had to learn like 9 different roles. Not, I mean, it's the same role, but 9 different personas
Characters, characters.
for the same role. And it just,
Mhm.
oh, what crazy cool. And the fact that
Yeah,
she's,
I was gonna say she's gonna win it. I. There's no doubt in my mind. Michelle Yeoh's gonna win
I'm sure she's going to win. And she'll be the first Asian woman to win that,
it. Hmm.
just like she was with the
Yeah.
Golden Globe and the SAG.
I wouldn't hate, really wouldn't hate it at all if Anna de Armas won, though. I don't think she's going to, but I'd be so, man, that would
That'd
be
be great for her
awesome if
too.
she did.
Then she can tell the Razzies they can suck it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And they gave the whole movie in general a Razzie too, right?
Yeah, they did, and they really, to me, that I was never really a big fan of Razzies. I think that it's
Yeah.
just a bunch of guys running around saying we got to do this just so we can meet all these actors and make fun of them. Um,
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
never agreed with it. I think that it just
Well,
kind of
if you haven't seen Blonde, see Blonde.
Sea Blonde. It's a really really good
Hmm.
movie. Don't see it with your kids.
No, 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 no. Or anyone in mixed company that you don't want to be traumatized because of your watching it together.
And it's just because there's some reality to the film that
Hmm.
the film itself and she brings out that you may not want some certain individuals within your circle to experience, observe, or have to explain to
Yeah,
from that
yeah,
perspective.
and also it can be triggering for some people.
It would be uh, best supporting actor Brendan
Hmm.
Gleeson, The Banshees of Inisherin. He did an amazing job in this,
He's
and
phenomenal.
makes you want to hate him.
I don't know that I wanted to hate. I guess in moments I wanted to, but I think I just really pitied him. I just felt so bad for him.
Well,
Anyway, he did a great job, a
he did
really
a great
great job.
job. He brought out
Hmm.
an emotion of anger, an emotion of what the hell. He brought you into his world as well, but you think focuses on depression and focuses on
Hmm.
mental health issues,
Yeah,
and he was able to
really.
portray that pretty well.
Um, Again, I think overall I have to say I loved the movie. I love the I love him and Colin Farrell's performances more than I think I like the movie, which sounds weird, but um, so yeah, I don't know. I think he could.
Yeah,
I can't remember who he is
I
against.
think you could as well.
Oh wait, no, he's against he's against Everything Everywhere. Hugh Kwan. How do you say his
Kiyu
name? Hugh
Kwan.
Kwan.
Yeah, I haven't got to that
Hugh
yet, but
Kwan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
Brian Tyree Henry Causeway, which I don't know what Causeway is. I haven't seen anything about that. Judd Hirsch in The Fablemans, and Judd is how old did we figure out he was the other day? 91?
He is 88, 87 or 88.
Whatever it is, he looks great for his age.
Mhm.
He does
Yeah,
a
he
really
does.
good job.
He really does. Mhm.
Barry Keegan, The Banshees of Inisherin. He
Mhm.
himself did a really good job. And again,
Yeah,
showcasing mental illness from
yeah.
a particular
He's
perspective.
very memorable character in that as well.
And Ke Huy Quan, Everything Everywhere All
Mhm.
at Once, which um, I think he did a fantastic job in that. Every one of these individuals, at least from the movies we've seen, all deserve this nomination 100%.
Yeah,
I think that
agreed.
Ke Huy Quan, I believe, in my opinion, I'm rooting for him. I think
Yes, me
that
too.
he really, coming from where he has, and if you know his story, he was a child actor and he was riding high, and all of a sudden he reached a certain age, and Hollywood threw him out the door.
Mhm.
Not because of his talent, but because of his age.
Mhm.
And
He,
it's kind
he
of
couldn't he couldn't make that transition from child actor to adult actor, which many can't.
many don't.
That's a hard transition.
So he thought his time was done and over until he got this script for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I think was it? I think we saw something like on one of the CBS Sunday mornings. I think it might have been where it was Michelle Yeoh who reached out to him
Mm,
to play that part.
I don't remember, but
Yeah, I think that's what it was, and I felt that, and he went, yeah, and he even his wife, he said, yeah, you got to do this. You just have to do this.
mhm. Yeah.
So yes, I wouldn't mind if Keegan or Hirsch, although considering, and I'm going to give it just a little bit away here, but considering what the other nominees brought to the movies,
Mhm.
I'm a fan of Judd Hirsch, but
Mine too,
his
pretty much.
his part was not very big in this movie.
No, he wasn't in it very much, very long. So
No, Brendan Gleeson, the whole movie.
yeah.
Brian
Oh,
Tyree Henry, I don't know because we haven't seen that one. Barry Keegan, The Banshees, he was in the whole movie. Ki
yeah.
Ki Hu Kwan, he was in the whole movie. So, any one of those individuals that win, I'm okay with.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
good with
I
it.
agree. Hmm.
Best Supporting Actress. Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which we still have to see. It's on Disney Plus. We can watch it any
Yeah, we
time.
gotta watch it.
Hung Chau, The Whale. That's she plays his Brendan Fraser's daughter in this, and they're trying to
Hmm.
like reconnect. Harry Condon, The Banshees of Inisherin. Carrie
She
Condon,
was,
pardon me, Carrie Condon. It's a
yeah.
she. Um, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mhm.
Stephanie
Love
Hsu,
her.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. They're up against each other.
It's that is really going to be a tough. I mean,
It's a tough category.
it's a really, really tough category.
Tough
I
category.
loved her. I loved Carrie. It's so funny. I think I actually loved all of the performances of the movie of Banshees of Inisherin more than I liked the movie itself. I don't know how that's possible, but and it
Well,
doesn't make sense. But
great acting.
they were fantastic. They're
Yeah,
really
great acting.
fantastic. I just the story was very, very hard to process. Um, but Stephanie Shu, and as much as I love Jamie Lee Curtis, and I do, I follow her on Facebook. I love her, and I wouldn't hate it if she won. But Stephanie Shu, I mean, she played so many varied a great number of characters, and and very different from I. Wow, she was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. It is it is. I agree with you in all of this. Carrie Condon
Hmm.
in The Banshees did a great job. I think that she
She
deserves
was
to
good.
win. I know that Angela Bassett is Angela Bassett, and from the clips that I've seen,
Right.
she's obviously done a wonderful job with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Hong
She seems to
Chao,
be the odds-on favorite. Angela Bassett seems to be the odds-on favorite.
she
So
does, but I think that uh, this year's kind of different.
it's going to be. That's I think the really
Yeah,
maybe the toughest category.
but Hong Chao, it's about from what I've understood and what I've heard, she has done an
Mhm.
outstanding performance in The Whale. Jamie Lee Curtis, as we said earlier, she is Jamie Lee Curtis, and
She was awesome too.
she's awesome within it. But I think that Stephanie Hsu did probably. I'm rooting for Stephanie Hsu, to be honest. I think that
I
she
think I am
probably
too.
brought something to that role, um, and she was throughout the whole movie, so it wasn't just a little bit part kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So from
yeah,
those perspectives, I do think that, or I'm hoping, I think that Everything All at Once has a chance of taking the board. I think they have a chance of coming across with everything.
yeah, yeah. It could be clean sweep.
Yeah, and there's so many other categories on here that we could talk for another 45 minutes, but I don't want to waste
Probably
everybody's
won't.
time today. So if you want to go look at the list, that'll be attached to the show notes, both on the YouTube video as well as the episode itself. You'll be able to see things like the best adapted screenplay. You'll see the which includes things like Women Talking, which we're going to still watch. I found it was available to us to be able to watch, but I didn't find that out until late last night. Um,
Hmm.
so you can find things like that. You're going to find best cinematography, which cinematography. Just to touch on that really quick, the best cinematography, All Quiet on the Western Front, um, Bardo, False Chronicle of Handful of Truth. We haven't seen that. Elvis, um, Tar, Empire of the Light. The Empire of the Light and Tar we haven't seen yet. Bardo False Chronicles, we haven't seen that yet. But between Elvis and All Quiet on the Western Front, I think that just from those two movies that we watched, especially All Quiet on the Western Front, the
Hmm.
cinematography in that alone
Yeah,
was absolutely immersive. It brought
yeah.
you into each one of the war scenes that you were in. You felt like you were part of it.
It was hard to watch, and it was very tragic, and you really felt it. And I think it was because of the cinematography.
Yeah, the cinematography on it was like amazing. Same thing with Elvis. I think Elvis cinematography was great, but
Hmm.
from this list that we have right here, I think
I
that
think it's got to be all quiet.
it's got to be all quiet, and everything everywhere all at once is not in this, and I think it should have been.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it should have been
That's
because of
crazy.
the cinematography in it. But out of those, All Quiet on the Western Front, absolutely, it needs to
Mhm.
win. I think. Um, so overall, I hope everybody enjoys their Oscar Sunday, and that we were able to contribute just a little bit of thinking for you before you go on tonight, and maybe provide you with some a guide that you can sit back and watch the movies with and the awards with to see who gets them and who does not. We're rooting for everything, everywhere, all at once, and
Mhm.
Elvis and Banshees. I mean, we're rooting for. It's like
This
a
one,
parent,
yeah,
and you've got
good.
5 kids or 6 kids, and you're kind of going, "Who's my favorite?" Well,
It's hard this year. And maybe it's because we finally have a year where we saw most of the movies. So we feel like we have skin in the game or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting it's gonna be an interesting night. So
I think so
and then
too.
Jimmy Kimmel hosting. I mean, I love Jimmy Kimmel. I I can't get enough Jimmy Kimmel.
This
So
is his third
I'm
time. Third time.
okay. Hmm.
And I love the commercial that they were doing with Jimmy Kimmel coming into the Top Gun command center.
I don't think I saw it.
Oh, you didn't see that?
I guess I need to see
It'll
it.
tell you how good Top Gun Maverick is. They recreated what was Tom Cruise coming into the command center with John Hamm and the other guy, and
Oh wait, maybe I did see that.
they were going.
Okay. I didn't.
So you asked these people, yes, yes, so and so, yes. You asked
Oh, right.
it was it, who did they say they
Billy
were?
Crystal. I think they said Billy Crystal.
Yeah, and then
And didn't Billy Crystal show up or something in it?
no, yeah, he
Um,
does actually. He does show up in
I
it,
thought he
in
did.
in
Yeah.
portion of it because they cut it down. I hate it when they do that. They get a really good commercial and then they cut part of it off. As time goes
Mhm.
by. They're talking about
Mhm.
like they it was asking one person about one person. He says, "Oh, we begged him. We just begged him,
Mhm.
but we're stuck with you." It's like, gee, thanks.
It's gonna be good.
So it's going to be good. So anyway,
Mhm.
thank you everybody for listening today, for watching us today. We really appreciate it, and have a good time at the Oscars tonight. Please don't forget to check out our other episodes on YouTube. It's at Before You Go Podcast. You can find it on YouTube at Before You Go Podcast. And same thing with the episodes that are coming up over the next few weeks. I feel you'll see some new artwork. Just to remind you that artwork is still us. We just decided to kind of evolve a little bit with our artwork and cover art and so forth. So please make sure to know that it is still us. And we've got some great guests coming up. And Diane and I are going to have some really great in-depth conversation coming up on Sundays as well. So one more thing before you go. Have a great week. Have a great time tonight. And thanks for
Mhm.
listening.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.